A very good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Lungilele Makakula. It's 2 p.m. This is the final episode of Market View this week. Today, the Eswatini Competition Commission is the only organization in Eswatini that is empowered to directly protect consumers in respect to all aspects of trade. Today, our focus is the role of the Eswatini Competition Commission and the importance of encouraging competition between businesses to support economic growth and protect the consumer. Competition is critical because it allows new businesses to enter the market and also ensure that SMEs have an equal opportunity to participate in the economy and succeed. Economist Analyst Via will join us for this discussion. And for our business news this afternoon, the Eswatini Investment Promotion Authority says it has received over 309 applications so far for the 2024 International Trade Fair. And these are applications from local SMEs, vendors, and international exhibitors across various sectors. On our last segment, Sibia will come again and give us an analysis on financial markets this afternoon. It seems coalition anxiety in South Africa has pushed the rand to trade at 19 rands against the dollar. For now, let's go to business news. APA introduced an app for applicants to apply for the Trade Fair 2024. Over 309 applications have been received so far, including submissions from local SMEs, vendors, and international exhibitors across various sectors. The application deadline is June 10th, with payments due by June 30th, 2024 to secure a spot.
Eswatini International Trade Fair, we introduced the app for applications, and we are seeing a positive uptake in terms of applicants. We have over 309 applications that we've received so far, and we have seen a number of those wishing to be part of the trade fair making payments. What I want to touch on is the issue of our deadlines. The emphasis will be on the application deadline, which is on the 10th of June. 2024, which is a day which is just close by, and we are having a payment deadline which is on the 30th of June 2024. In terms of uptake, the numbers are promising, and we are almost oversubscribed if we can look at the applicants. Then in relation to payments, we know that once you've made an application, the only time where you can say you've secured space at the trade fair is when you have made a payment for that particular space that you've applied for. So I think the competition would be too high in terms of securing space at the trade fair. We've seen local companies, big companies, we've seen SMEs, we've seen hawkers, vendors, and we've had a number of applications from international exhibitors. So I think we are still on track to ensure that we have the spread in terms of participation from all sectors in Eswatini. So we anticipate to have a very fruitful international trade fair even this year.
The Eswatini Competition Commission is currently undertaking comprehensive studies in the pharmaceutical, agricultural, and fast-moving consumer goods sectors. This initiative seeks to ensure fair practices and pricing, ultimately protecting consumers from unfair business tactics. The Acting Communications and Advocacy Manager at the Commission, Louis Marx, says the Commission urges members of the public to come forward with any relevant information that could assist in these studies. He says in safeguarding consumers against unfair business practices, the Commission is vigilant in addressing cases where the costs of goods and services are excessively increased to detriment of consumers.
We implore enterprises to come forward and notify transactions that relates to acquisitions and mergers. Why do we implore enterprises to notify mergers? We need to have the measures reported for the purposes of doing an analysis internally to ensure that the markets remain competitive, resulting to the benefit of the end user, who is the consumer. Within the Commission, we also undergo studies. Currently, we are doing a market inquiry into the agricultural sector, FMCGs, and the beef sector. We request the public and enterprises to come forth with information. This information will help the Commission to analyze and pick substances or conditions which may be deemed to be unfair to other businesses, helping the enterprises and at the same time helping the consumers. On the consumer perspective part, the Commission is currently engaged in an exercise in collaboration with stakeholders like the Ministry of Commerce, under the licensing department, the Home Affairs Department, and the Royal Eswatini Police. The key purpose of the collaboration is to ensure that consumers continue to benefit and exercise their right to fair pricing. If I may just highlight what is the collaboration for, the Commission and the other stakeholders are looking into bread solely. It is noted that currently consumers are not aware of how much bread costs. So the whole exercise is to ensure that enterprises comply and charge the correct price with regards to the price of bread. So we implore enterprises to make sure that such prices, since they are gazetted, they are kept the way they are supposed to be charged.
All right, it's 8 minutes after 2, and that's it for our business news. We'll go for an ad break. When you come back, we will be joined by economist Sanele Sibia.
Eswatini National Petroleum Company proudly presents to you the Monday edition of Market View, where business news are reported and analyzed by a cast of experts and correspondents to deliver unrivaled facts and figures from the business world. Catch this edition every Monday at 2 p.m., brought to you by Eswatini National Petroleum Company.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you'll go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience in the kingdom.
Be sure to catch Business Watch every Wednesday between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., where we feature the latest updates on business news, market trends, and exclusive interviews with industry leaders, as well as insights on emerging small and medium enterprises in the commercial sector. Business Watch, your business leader.
Ujala masada mahlok nathi lesa.
Sabadani ukuthi njengalokhu
asive sitikhulumeni.
Hey, it's Nelson Makanya here. Let me take you through a tour of your own cities and your own country. This is the Kingdom of Eswatini. Join us and let Buhlebetu inspire you to be an A tourist in your own city and your own country. Experience a virtual tour of exciting places in and around Eswatini. We look out for exciting and adventurous places for families and individuals to enjoy right here in the Kingdom of Eswatini. Let's go. Unwind and dine on Eswatini soil. Enjoy the experience and savor every waking moment.
Hey, I knew it. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. I'm now joined by economist Anita Sibia to discuss the role of the Eswatini Competition Commission as well as the importance of encouraging competition between businesses to support economic growth and protect the consumer. Mr. Sibia, thank you for joining us. A very good afternoon. Thank you for coming through to the show. We're discussing the importance of competition amongst businesses. Why is it critical for businesses to have competition, and does it support economic growth and also create jobs? If so, how?
Thank you, Lulu, and thank you for having me. So basically, when we talk of competition, that is the basic of economics. Every economy works because there is competition, right? Because you want businesses to be able to come into industry and, innovate and be able to have those protections in terms of whatever it is that they bring into the market, and those that cannot sustain the competition that move out of industry. So eventually in the long term we have a more stable business environment with lower prices but higher unemployment. That's basically the textbook definition of what a competition is. But when you come to reality, what you then deal with is you want to create a conducive environment where businesses can actually come in and grow. And when we talk of business growth, then eventually we mean, companies are going to start employing people. But when you look at the very far spectrum of that, where you have companies and you have people that are anti-competitive, forming cartels and forming some type of monopoly one way or the other. So that tends to drive other businesses out of the market. It drives out innovation, so that becomes unfair competition. So you are competing using means that are not friendly to the market. You're not competing based on your innovation, based on your ability to attract markets and get a share of the market. So yeah, that's why competition is quite critical, and it's quite important that we maintain a fair environment for competitive environment.
Yeah, speaking of a fair environment, I want us to focus on SMEs. SMEs are regarded as a critical sector in the Kingdom of Eswatini. Are they given a fair opportunity or equal opportunities to also participate in the growth of the economy?
When it comes to SMEs, every country, it's not even a situation that is unique to Eswatini. Actually, even the US, the SME sector is actually the sector that drives growth. So when you talk of competition in that sector, what you need to do is to create an environment that enables SMEs to grow and SMEs to move to that footing where they can compete with bigger entities. So that means you need to be able to address bottlenecks such as access to finance, and at times as a regulator and as government, you can be anti-competitive because you want to nurture this space for SMEs to grow. For example, we know that markets don't like that, but you could say, no, we are going to protect this. Can we have affirmative action around ensuring that when there's tenders coming out from government, can a portion of those go to SMEs? So that depends on the direction that we might want to take as a country, because you find that at times you would have what you call a dominant firm, such that we know that in any case, if we want this, we are going to get it from that person. So that tends to stifle out competition. So you could be, as a deliberate action from government, allow that space. But in terms of our economy, what we need to deal with in terms of SMEs is not just the competition aspect only, but it's a broad spectrum of issues that SMEs face in terms of being able to come into the market and play at that level. One of those being access to finance. Because in Eswatini, we are running what we call a collateral-based funding system. So until and unless we get rid of that and ensure that people are able to access the resources that they need to come into play, then we are still playing around issues that that we need to deal with before we even get to the competition aspect of it. And also issues of the collateral. Most of the SMEs we talk of are on SNL, or they're even renting, so they really have nothing to bargain with as collateral. So we need to really think around those issues as a country, and then deal with those the underlying issues, and then we can start even thinking of competition within that space and probably affirmative action. So we need a broad-based type of approach.
Yeah. So because we're speaking about competition, the fairness amongst businesses, what happens? What are the effects of unfair competition amongst businesses, particularly SMEs?
Amongst SMEs. So unfair competition. So the extreme end of unfair competition would be what we call a monopoly, where there is a legal barrier that allows any other person to come into that industry and play, right? There could be also another factor of unfair competition, where we'd say a company does what we call vertical integration, such that you buy a company that contributes, that probably, if we are talking of bread, you buy the dairy board, and then you also buy the farmers that make the meat, that make the wheat. So eventually you have the entire production spectrum. So that means the bakery can then now control the entire production spectrum, including the prices. So that would drive other innovation out of the market. So anyone who wants to make bread would now find it difficult. So that's what unfair competition does. And once you've driven those people out of the market, then you could then start charging higher prices and actually just limiting the output that you put there. So that means we are going to see unemployment coming up. And, in terms of the other aggregates, once you have too much control over the price, then that means we become price takers. So those are the issues that we need to make sure that unfair competition doesn't do in the because it's hard we are dealing with yet fair competition then creates this environment for innovation where every idea has the potential to become a business and it has the potential to make money or lose out. So we lose out in terms of quite a lot of prospects for growth when we have unfair competition compared to when we have fair competition.
Okay, so now focusing on the consumer, how then does the Competition Commission protect consumers from unfair business practices?
Okay, so in terms of the local landscape, part of the mandate of the Competition Commission is to actually ensure consumer protection. So what the Commission does is, and I think we've seen this where I think there was once a story around Pick n Pay and all the other retailers who are now colluding to charge, I think it was bread. So that's what the Competition Commission does. They would always make sure that they are monitoring those things so that when you are being charged the price at the counter, that is the right price. And, also for making sure that you have a consumer protection forum where you can go and actually just report when you haven't been treated fairly. And then the commission can take up that investigation and look into that. So it does not only just focus on the investigation of businesses and whatnot, it also does focus on issues that consumers are raising in the markets and then going into that, making sure that you are charged the right price, making sure that companies are not colluding. Because remember we said when you talk of unfair competition, it can come up as quite a number, and through a number of forums and avenues. One of them being the colluding. Firms can collude. The different partners can collude and charge a price that is higher than what you would initially ideally pay if there wasn't that collusion in the market.
Yeah. So how then can the public or consumers contribute to the Commission's efforts to regulate the market?
You can report, follow the reporting procedures, report any unfair competition practices that you are seeing. If you are suspecting that there's collusion, if you are suspecting that you are walking across 10 different shops and then you're finding the price of an unregulated commodity, maybe if we can't say bread because bread is regulated, the price is known that this will be the price for bread. And then you are seeing that, how come I'm not seeing changes in the prices? Yeah, you can report those things. Probably you are being treated unfairly. You've purchased a commodity, it breaks within a minute, and then nobody wants to take part of that. You can report those. And also, there's issues of pricing. When you don't know your rights, you really just lose out. There's issues of pricing where you would be shopping with your calculator, and then eventually when you get to the cash point, you are paying quite more money. That's an unfair thing. The price you pay should be the price that you are seeing on the shelf. And once you are seeing such occurrences becoming a norm, then that's something you would then have to again report to the Competition Commission to say, I was shopping in shop X and I've noted that every time when I use my calculator during shopping and then I get that there's an entire variance of 100 rands. We could vary like 5 rand, something like that. But when it's starting to become very significant, those are issues you can report to the Commission and they can be dealt with because it's an unfair practice. Price you see on the shelf is the price you should pay at the exit point. Yeah. So people should just read the Competition Act and know their rights and know where to report, because I think we are taken for granted because we don't know our rights and we do not even know where to report.
Yeah, all right. Thanks so much, Mr. Spear, for that insight. We still have to come back and discuss the market analysis. Let's quickly go for an ad break. Sevia Kanamanje.
Be sure to catch Business Watch every Wednesday between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., where we feature the latest updates on business news, market trends, and exclusive interviews with industry leaders, as well as insights on emerging small and medium enterprises in the commercial sector. Business Watch, your business leader.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching Market View. Let's take a look at financial markets this afternoon with economist Sanele Sbiya. He comes back to discuss the analysis on financial markets this afternoon. Mrs. Sbiya, thank you for joining us. We're seeing a lot of anxiety in South Africa, Zika coalition. So that has pushed the rands to trade 19 rands against the dollar. Give us an analysis this afternoon.
Thank you, Lulu. So if you see that the markets are a bit volatile, they're not necessarily volatile, they're a bit scared. So when you're looking across the board, you will see that the Lilangeni, because it's linked to the rand, has actually lost against all major currencies. But that is basically on the background of, number one, the election. We are still waiting to see if we are either going to get a left-leaning coalition, maybe, a coalition of your ANC, MK, and EFF. I think that's what the markets are showing, that they're just scared of that coalition. And we are hoping that if we have a right-leaning or a centrist-leaning kind of coalition, then we are going to have the rand actually, it's going to perform better. I mean, we are seeing it going to 17, close to 16 if we can get that coalition. But it's an issue of how feasible is it to get to that coalition.
All right, so looking at commodities, we're just in the interest of time, I'd like us to move on to commodities. Gold was doing well yesterday. Prices were up, and I see gold is doing quite well. Take us through these figures.
So what we are seeing with gold, what we are expecting today, we are expecting the European Central Bank is actually going to be addressing shortly if they've not started that address right now. So we are expecting interest rates to cut, and then in the US we analysts are expecting interest rates to start coming down in, say, around September. So that's what markets are now taking in, those news. It's a bit of optimism, and it's actually responding to that. That's why gold is actually just shining on that to say, there is going to be a bit of stability in the market. And then also what we saw yesterday, Brent crude was actually at around $74 per barrel. So right now, with those news of markets and interest rates likely to go down, and then we are seeing that demand might then start going up again. So that's what we are seeing, and gold also just responding, getting back to that 80 mark right now.
All right, so looking at international markets, I think we saw yesterday reports were saying that the U.S. economy is slowing down. How is it performing? How are international markets performing today?
So yes, in as much as we may see certain areas in the US are beginning to slow down, but overall the markets are somehow warming up to the news of an expectant interest rate hike. When quite a number of economists are polling and being on the same page, agreeing that we are expecting interest rates to start coming down in September, and then also markets are being optimistic with what Europe is going to do. So what we are seeing now is Europe becoming the market leader in terms of what we are going to do with interest rates, because this year the markets are being driven by the interest rate story. So again, if you see Europe very happy and awaiting the news of an interest rate cut, and what we've also seen coming out in London was the fact that there's a $19 billion budget that has been passed, £19 billion budget that has been passed. So that's what we are seeing the markets really responding to. But the most important feature in today's market story is that Europe story in terms of what they're going to do with their interest rates. And then when we move to Asia again, what we are seeing there with Asia is also somehow very eagerly awaiting the Europe story. So when Asia went to sleep yesterday, they were actually awaiting the Europe story. But the only fundamentals that we are seeing is, when you come into Shanghai, we are still seeing that outflow of capital from mainland China into other regions. That's purely because the Chinese yuan is a bit weak at the present moment. So that's what we are seeing. Yet we are seeing Japan starting to buy back the yuan, the Japanese yuan, and that's why we are seeing those positive news backed with that currency, with that interest rate hike cut in Europe. And then in South Africa, again, we are seeing markets taking the same shape as the dollar, as the exchange rate, purely because there was that bit of a rebound. But markets are still eagerly and anxiously awaiting to see what is going to become of this coalition. And then, in Eswatini, what we are seeing again, post-earnings session, the Lilangeni exchange, our Eswatini Stock Exchange is still around that 479.62.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Sibiya, for that analysis this afternoon. Our financial markets this Thursday afternoon. We've come to the end of our program. This was the final episode this week of Market View. Catch us again next week, Monday at 2 p.m. Have a lovely day. Have a safe weekend. And I'll see you on Monday.